Hi everybody, this is Father Moki coming to you from Good Shepherd Church in Wailuku, Maui. Today is Thursday, April 15th, 2021, and this is Chicken Chat, not from the courtyard, but from the churchyard, because we were finding that chickens were not going to the courtyard, so we had to go to where the chickens were, just like sometimes we have to go to where the church is, whether that's the park or down on the street or whatever. And you'll notice that I do have chickens around me, and that I am indeed feeding them, because I'm not banned from feeding them here the way that I'm banned from feeding them in the courtyard, a rule which I follow very fastidiously. Anyhow, so here we are. We're here, it's actually, if you'll look, it's the same chickens that are in the courtyard. They just happen to be hanging out here for the time being, but we're minus Tyson. So I don't know if Tyson met his chicken maker, the great Colonel Sanders in the sky, or if you know, his mother has finally pushed him out of the nest and he's on his own. But wherever he is, we wish Tyson well. Before I begin, I'd also like to tell you that I just now, 5 minutes ago, got off the phone with Aline Roloff. She is still in the hospital, and we had a good chat and said some prayers. Thank God for Mother Amy Crow being the chaplain at the hospital, because she called me and held the phone up to Aline's ear, and so we were able to finally connect. And Aline knows that we love her and that the church is thinking about her and praying for her. So with that, let's take a moment now to remember everyone on our pastoral care prayer list. And also, you'll notice that we have a beautiful photo to display all the names. The photo was taken by Father Bruce de Goyer. So let us pray. Almighty God, we commend to you all those on our pastoral care prayer list. May they be held in the hollow of your hand, feel your presence, and feel our prayers as well. Amen. We do have birthdays. We say happy birthday this week to Carissa Cahigal, Alexander Viernes, Gilbert Bunmanlag, and Haley Evangelista. Also, happy anniversary to Mary and Rogelio Denong, Florence and Julius Quaresma, and Clarita Narciso Corpus. For April, our memory verse comes from 2 Corinthians 12:9. My grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. My grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. Bearing in mind that Jesus went to the cross, which was perceived to be a sign of weakness, but ultimately became a sign of power in the paradoxical faith that you and I have. We have had meetings of the Finance Committee, the Pastoral Care Committee, and the Property Management Committee. And the vestry will meet on Tuesday, and as soon as they approve the minutes and the financials, we will get those out to you. I know that you guys review them and look at them, because people have called me with questions, which is good. I like to see the congregation engaged and taking a real interest in the goings-on of the church. So thank you for that. Also, please let Cora at the office know if you would like to have someone added to the prayer list, or if it's time to remove someone from the prayer list. Those of you who watch carefully will notice it's not always the same list every week, because we are very, very diligent about updating it and removing people for whom there have been shifts, especially healing shifts. Also let her know if you have a birthday or an anniversary that you would like the church to remember. We will do our best to do that via Chicken Chat. Also, death anniversaries, especially those that are not already in the office record. We'll be glad to honor that. And if you're not getting any of our communications and you just happen to see us on Facebook, and you'd like to get the weekly worship notice or the weekly Chicken Chat notice, please email Cora at the office, and we'll make sure that you get on our distribution list. I've had quite a number of requests from the Big Island, from Oahu, and from the mainland. So we're getting ourselves out there, which is wonderful. Also, please remember, 5 p.m. on Saturdays, we have a Eucharist in the courtyard. 7 a.m. on Sundays, we launch our virtual worship. And 9 a.m. on Sundays, we have an in-person Eucharist again in the courtyard. We're hoping to get to the day where we can be back in the sanctuary, but until then, we're going to play it safe and stay outside. The New York Times has listed Maui as a high-risk area for COVID still. So we want to be responsible and make sure that nobody catches this as a result of coming to church here. I did find some memes. It's been a while since I shared Facebook memes with you, but I did find a few this week that I thought were interesting. It says here, and this meme is really cool because it has a picture of a tree as a human body with the hands as the branches and the feet as the roots. It says, "Life is very short, so break your silly ego, forgive quickly, believe slowly, love truly, laugh loudly." That's a really important one. "And never avoid anything that makes you smile." Good Shepherd makes me smile, Maui makes me smile, and so I'm glad that in this short life of mine I'm here and with all of you. This one, I think this has really helped me work toward that notion of forgiveness and releasing blame. And wanting people to suffer consequences for things done unto me. It says, "Sometimes people pretend you're a bad person so they don't feel guilty for how they treated you." Yeah, and that's been really helpful to me. You know, it's basically, I'm a good person and I need to stop believing those messages of people who tell me that I'm bad just because they want to feel better about themselves. Those are the people who need my forgiveness. Those are the people who need our prayers. So please bear that in mind. This one's kind of heavy. The cross was not God's invention. It was ours. Yeah, it was invented by the Romans, right? In all our need for an eye, I have to wonder sometimes if God listened to us to cry for blood and offered his own. If Jesus' sacrifice on the cross was not to sate God's wrath, but to show God's response to ours. That's Mike McCharge. Anyway, I don't know how to say his last name, but I think that's really profound. I'm going to read it again. The cross was not God's invention, it was ours. In all our need for an eye, I have to wonder sometimes if God listened to us cry for blood and offered his own. If Jesus' sacrifice on the cross was not to sate God's wrath, but to show God's response to ours. There you go. Some things to think about. I do have to make a correction. We're going to share a recognition of the acolytes with you via this Chicken Chat, and I made a mistake. I called Alfredo and Gil, Alfredo Evangelista and Gil Keith Agaran, reserve acolytes. That was a misnomer. They are senior acolytes. And so there, and I did say, you know, if someone wasn't available, they could pinch. I think that's still true, but Their main ministry is to serve as acolytes at special services, at funerals, things like this. So that is a correction that I want to put out there to the congregation. Also, we would really like to get more people involved in the altar guild. And so, and also men in the altar guild. Let's do a paradigm shift, and let's have Good Shepherd be the start of a paradigm shift in the diocese, and maybe get some men to serve on the altar guild. I did so when I was a lay person in Guam, and I found it very, very profound and very, very fulfilling. I will admit to you that I was a bit intimidated when I started, because I thought, oh, there's all this stuff and it's so important, which it is, but it's really not that complicated once you get used to it. And I think we need to look at it as a ministry rather than a burden. And it can be very life-giving. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how easy it actually is to change a frontal here in the sanctuary, and maybe that will mitigate some of the anxiety that may be holding you some of you back from stepping up. And I will probably reach out to a few of you individually and ask you to please consider serving. So anyway, with that, we're going to go into the church now, and I will show you how to change the frontal. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Like I said in Chicken Chat, this is really actually very easy to change this frontal. It's not intimidating at all. So watch as Peter and I, two men, change the frontal of the home. Here we go.
Okay, everybody, we're back, and oh, I've got hungry chickens, but let me see. You know, they say, feed them and they will come. Let's see if that's true. Well, lordy, look, feed them and they will come. They have indeed done that. We do have a number of saints for you this week. Alphege, the Archbishop of Canterbury and a martyr. He was bishop during a period of time in England where there were a lot of raids by the Vikings. And so he was reaching out to people then and was martyred. Then there's Anselm of Canterbury, who was a monk and Archbishop of Canterbury. And he said that to show reason requires that men should believe in God. So in other words, God has to get in there and inspire our reason. So it's a symbiotic relationship, I think. It's not either or, but both and. Then we have, oh, I can't even say this. Let's see, Hadowich of Brabant. I hope I said that right. 13th century mystic and poet. And she was a great influence on Meister Eckhart. So, a woman, obviously, who was an influence on a man. Go figure. John Muir and Hudson Stuck, naturalist and writer. We all know about John Muir and the woods. But Hudson Stuck was a priest and environmentalist, and he was part of the team that was on the first expedition to climb Denali, aka Mount McKinley in, where is that? Alaska. Yeah. I've actually seen it from the, thank you for the affirmation. Then we have Toyohiko Kagawa. He's a renewer of society. He was born in Kobe and went and lived on the streets intentionally to get a feel for what it was like to be poor. He became a Presbyterian and his parents disowned him because of that. And he was influential in establishing labor unions in Japan and saw it as a social justice issue. Having lived in Osaka, which is right next to Kobe, I can tell you that because Kobe was a port town like Yokohama, Hakodate in Hokkaido, Nagasaki in Kyushu, there were a lot of European traders who were allowed into these ports, and so these port cities have a lot of Christian influences, and that may have contributed to his becoming a Christian and working for advocacy for the poor, like Jesus said. And then we have George, St. George, soldier and martyr, the guy who slayed the dragon. So all people that we are going to honor in our prayers of the people this Sunday, so you have a little bit of background on who they are. The chicken is chatting, everybody. And finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, everybody. You know how Jesus says, you know, if you go into a town and they don't accept what you say, shake the dust off your feet of that town and move on. Well, this chicken came into the town of the courtyard of the office, and I didn't have anything to feed her, and she shook the dust off of her and walked on. And so for embodying that gospel, this week the chicken of the week is Dusty, shaking the dust off. And so we say congratulations to Dusty. Dusty, your friends are all saying congratulations to you. Take care, everybody. God bless, and we'll see you next week. Wait, before we see you next week, and now we're going to show you the Acolyte recognition. Thank you. Just before we move on with the service this morning, today is the day that we honor and thank our acolytes here at Good Shepherd Church, and all but one of them is here this morning. We also thank Pacifico Evangelista for his tireless efforts in this ministry and empowering this ministry. Normally I would give out a lei or something like that, but this year I wanted to do something a little different to express the church's thanks, and so I have Starbucks gift cards to give out to the acolytes, whether they are young or old or older. If you're the same age as me, you're older. So first I'd like to thank both Andrew and Matthew Yagen, because and listen, folk, it's not just showing up on Sunday these days. These guys came and dedicated 2 hours on a Saturday morning to do all the recordings of the gospel and lighting the candles and things for our virtual service. So they've really put in a lot of time. So to Matthew and to Andrew, I say thank you so much. Thank you. And then Behind me today we have the mother and son team of Natasha Lau and Isaiah Lampatak. And you should also know that Isaiah reads on a regular basis for our services. Natasha reads, and she works so hard with the youth, and I'm just so grateful and appreciative to you both. Thank you very much. Thank you. And then, I didn't know this, so it's very dangerous because now I know. There are backup acolytes, and one of them is Alfredo Evangelista, who's with his mother this morning and can't be at the service, so I'll deliver this to him a little bit later. The other one is here. Gil Keith Agaran is a backup acolyte. So for your service, Gil, thank you so much. Take your sister to Starbucks or something. But I do thank everybody very, very much. We're very appreciative.